Am I late? I am late. It's 10:04, people. 10:04, good buddies. Oddly enough, it's actually 10:03 if we're looking at the date. But on the clock, it's 10:04. Fun fact about 10:04, the last, well, second to last now, real job that Terry Bean held uh, was from 2006, around May 2006 until October 4th, 2007. When I said 10-4, good buddies, I got laid off. I was the recruiter for a telecom company. And when I started there, I had four markets: Detroit, Grand Rapids, Columbus, and Cleveland. And about 6 months into it, they added like a dozen more markets in Atlanta and Charlotte and Raleigh, North Carolina, and Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and New Orleans, and somewhere in Tennessee, probably Memphis. And yeah, so a bunch of other markets, and that was kind of interesting and a little painful. Um, and then about 8 months after that, they added 16 more markets throughout Maryland and Pennsylvania and DC and all up the eastern seaboard. Not all up, I should say, basically south of New York, and just kind of rounded that out. And they never gave me an extra dime. They never gave me an extra person. I went from four markets to 32 markets, and then they let me go because they let like 1,000 people go the month before, and evidently decided they didn't really need a recruiter. Why? Because it was 2007, and they knew that the crash was coming, and crash we did. Wild time. So there's your 10-4 story. You like that one? Huh? How's that for a way to kick off Beans bits? There's a little bit for you. A little bit of bean bashing is what that was. Anyway, so TEDxDetroit, yo. 555. That's 15 if you're counting them up. We got it done. And we got it done in a most unusual way. I have to tell you that I've been on this board for, well, let's see, we've done 15 editions, and I've been on the board for all 15. So, like, the whole dang time. To be fair, I quit at least 3 times every year because there's not a lot of reward to being on the board. I mean, sure, you get to take a selfie from behind the stage, and that's really cool. And you get to meet some of the speakers, which is that's really rewarding, and you get to see how the sausage is made. And no one should ever watch how the sausage is made. Just eat the damn sausage, people. It tastes way better than it looks. And maybe you get to meet some cool companies that sponsor if they sponsor. Yeah, and that's kind of the extent of it. Although I am contemplating an interesting offering that I am uniquely positioned to put together in terms of helping people get on TEDx stages. So I might do that, which would be something I wouldn't have done if I wasn't on the board. So we'll see. I'm gonna withhold judgment on whether or not I have tons of value from being on the board. But it's an interesting role. It's usually a decent time. This year was less than a decent time. And I have to say that Sean Lee, who came out and gave his presentation, last one of the day, really started off by kind of throat punching people and saying, yo, you have to buy your tickets, get your stuff together, and don't put this board through that mess that we went through, because it's stressful, y'all. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of effort. It's a lot of energy, literally hundreds of hours for some of us. Some of us don't seem to do much at all. And I'm not going to say which camp I'm in. Well, to be fair, I'm in both. There are times when I do all the things and none of the things. I'm in both. And it shouldn't be like that. It should be that you have a board of folks that are doing their part, lifting their weight, carrying their weight. Shouldn't be down to like 4 or 5 rock stars that are carrying water for everybody when you got a dozen people on a board. That's a whole different conversation. But it shouldn't also be that we can't find a sponsor, right? This event is 15 years old. It's 15 years in the making. People love it. Like love, 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 love it. It was great. In this year at the venue was phenomenal. We had all kinds of trouble and tribulation and trials and travesties going into that. Most of them, at least some of them, were self-created, and some of them were tied to not being able to get sponsors, and some of them were tied to, up until the middle of August, maybe even late August, we had more people apply to speak than buy tickets. It took like 3 months to eclipse ticket sales over speaker applications. You got to be flipping kidding me. We put together an early bird thing, ticket price, so people will buy in the early session, right? And we let that run for like a month. And God bless, man, we have sold more tickets in one day on multiple occasions than we did in the first month this year. And there's something wrong with that. This event is too cool for it to be like, I don't know, should we even do it? That was my thought. I said to Charlie, I don't think we should do it. Listen, people, I am as optimistic as the day is long. I am Captain Positivity. I'm a bit of a realist too, so I cross between those lines. But you could kick me in the nuts and I'm still going to say thank you, right? Because you probably had to do that for whatever reason, because I probably deserved it for something. That being said, what the actual? It should not be like that. It shouldn't be stressful. Are we going to be able to make this? Are we going to be able to pay for the venue? We didn't do a whole mess of things because of budget, and then we got some really less than great intel from the venue about food and what we needed to do for that. And so it was a little goofy about how we were going to feed everybody. And that didn't come off as well as it could have. All of that. I just erased your memory from all that conversation. You didn't even hear it. Didn't even happen. You don't even know what I'm talking about right now, but you know what I'm going to say next. You're going to say, bam, the shit was fire, straight fire all the way through. So we got a bunch of really cool performers. I actually started following Rocky Soledad. I loved her beats, her music, and her voice was cool. I don't think she needs the dancers. No offense, Rocky Soledad dancers. Y'all were talented and wonderful. I just think she's a star on her own. What do I know though? I'm a 52-year-old guy. I don't know anything about movie music for the 20-year-olds. But she was cool. And then the House of Jit was really, really interesting. Anthony Gruppito, the magician. Man, I got to spend some quality time with him before the event on Channel 4, and he had tricked the hell out of us on more than one occasion. If you're looking for somebody who's entertaining, Anthony Gruppito is the guy. He did an amazing, amazing job. And his magic is great, great, great. And his story about being a 3-time suicide attempt survivor is all kinds of powerful too. So that was cool. There's a dude named Cam Rowe, 6'9" comedian, evidently son of former Detroit Piston of the similar name. I don't remember his dad's name, Will maybe. So being 6'9" and working at a Panera or wherever he said, I think he said he was a dishwasher at Leo's Coney Island. It's a crazy kind of thing, man. So, there goes that dude's son. His set was really funny. And I'm telling you all this because if you go to TEDxDetroit.com right now, you can actually go and see the live stream that broadcast all day Thursday. It's right there at the top of our website, TEDxDetroit.com. And if you scroll down on my LinkedIn profile, here, let me show you. I will show you where it is. I'm going to share this screen. I'm going to get over to something that looks like LinkedIn. This looks like LinkedIn. I don't know when the last time this was open, so we'll see what shows up here. Not terribly fresh. Not terribly old, but not terribly fresh. I'm going to go into my profile. I'm I'm going to scroll down a little bit so you can see my activity. Oh, look at that's meta, dude. There's me being live on me talking about this. Uh-huh. But if you see one of these most recent activity right here, a quick recap of the 35 acts who stepped on stage, I put those in order, people. So, I mean, it's not going to be there. Like, if you watch this tomorrow, it might be the third thing down because I really only post like once a day, maybe twice a day on a big day, but not a lot. So it'll be toward the top, but you can go and look through that, and that would tell you exactly who spoke, what time they spoke. So then you can go over and remember I was talking about the idea of kicking it over to the TEDxDetroit.com website. There's 3 sessions, right? Session 1, session 2, session 3. You can go see which speaker was in session 1, session 2, and session 3, and only watch the 2 hours of that session. And you can scroll through. It's cool. So you'll be able to see it. And then all of those speakers are going to actually have their video on TEDx.com at some point. They will. When I say all of them, not me. I won't have my stuff there because, board member, right? They don't, to be totally kind and fair, I got up there so I could put something on a speaker reel. And I may not have even done that part well because I told the saddest damn story of my life. And I don't know if that was speaker reel worthy. It was a trip though, man. I had 5 minutes. I was like, how can I have people experience the entire roller coaster ride of a TEDx Detroit event in a 5-minute talk? And I think I did, man. I think I had people laughing. I think I had people crying. I think I had people feeling triumphant. I think I won. In that respect, if those were the 3 metrics, I think I did it okay. But yeah, it is sad. You'll see my talk. I'll post it in the next week or 2. I'll have mine way before the other people because I don't have to worry about getting TED approval. I also got some funky little X photos, right, with X. And so those are on my LinkedIn too. You can check those out. I do want to share that Charlie is a beast. Charlie Wahlberg is a beast. He's a pain in the ass, pain in my ass in particular, pain. But I love this man. Love this man. And the fact that he steered the ship and kept going is crazy to me. And I love the relentless optimism that he displayed in the faith that Detroit would actually gather around and do the thing and show up. And ultimately, while it wasn't a sellout or really even close to a sellout, you showed up. And we appreciate that. And I believe in my heart that those of you who took the time got an excellent show. So thank you for coming. I'm gonna tell one story and got nothing to do with TEDx, but it happened 2 days after TEDx. And so when you're present to what goes on around you, you start to notice how things really are. And it's an interesting fact. I had a God wink moment the other day, and it was really more of a God slap moment. But here it is. I was on my paddleboard. You know me, I like to paddleboard. If you know me, you know I like to paddleboard. And that's my thing. And so every time I go on the board, I go to this one spot way over there, about a mile over there, and I jump in, and then I lay on my back, and I put my legs up on the board, and I float. And that's awesome. It's peaceful, tranquil, meditative, deep thoughts, wonderful energy. So before I got on the board, I noticed this boat sitting in front of my house, and it had 3 people on it, and they were fishing. And they were talking and laughing and doing fishing things and driving my R3 dogs nuts, man. Bark, 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 bark. That's obnoxious. I don't love that. They finally left. I was happy about that. Eventually, I got on my board. I cruise over. I go do my thing. Paddle. I get 2/3, 3/4 of the way to where I'm going, and I see these guys, and they're like literally floating, pulling into my spot on the lake, and I'm like, oh. And then all of a sudden, I notice they stopped. They're not floating. They're not pulling anything. They are parked in my spot on the lake, and I'm like, these sons of bitches, what the heck is going on? They really gonna be in my spot? Like, they have no idea it's my spot, people. It's not like it's marked. There's not a sign that says parking for Terry only. And oh, to be sure, it is not my spot. It is just the place that I like to go. And so I was MFing them a little bit, right? And it's me. So I normally do that stuff with a spark of humor anyway, because I don't take any of this too seriously. But the fact that I was doing it was funny. And this is a calm day, right? Not a ripple, not a wave, like glass can see the reflection of the trees and the houses in the lake kind of day. And as I'm MFing these guys, all of a sudden I get real wobbly on the board. And I was like, what just happened here? And now I'm wobbly enough where there is no doubt I am going into the lake. Boom, I dive in head first. And as I get back surface, right, as I come up, I am laughing uncontrollably because I know in that moment, God's like, screw you, Bean. I'll knock your ass off that board. And did. And did. And I'm a big fan of the universe trying to send us messages. And I refer to it as the universe. Some of y'all call it God. The source, great spirit, whatever you want to call it, I'm okay with. It cracked me up. I laughed a lot. I did my float right there, right? That was it. I didn't need to go any farther. I'm gonna float. I got up on the board and I paddled back to where I would have normally gone. And they passed me in this little channel. And they said, "Did you dive in or fall off?" And I said, "Well, it's funny you ask. It's a little of both." I said, "The universe was speaking to me." And they, "Oh, all right, whatever that means." And I went and I floated again because it was a nice day Saturday. I got back on the board as I was coming back out. I saw them. They were parked, so they'd actually be able to hear me without the engine running. I said, "You guys want to hear a real funny story that involves you three?" And they're like, yeah. So I told them that story, and we all laughed again. Be present, folks. When the universe speaks, hear it. There's signs all day, every day. They're meant for you. So pay attention to them when you can. My name's Terry Bean. If you see the link, that's a link to this vault training thing that I've been doing. You can get that. That would be really cool. I'd love to have a couple of more folks in there checking out that information. Also, I'm available to do coaching, training, and speaking. I love those things, mostly around personal or business growth. I'm here to help, and I'm here to help you, and I'm here to help you now. Let's go, man. Fourth quarter. Can't wait. Let's finish this year strong. See you soon.